All right, we're about to dive into a massive essay from one of the most important insiders in the entire world of AI. And his 4 predictions for our future, well, they're pretty shocking. Let's get right into it.
I mean, seriously, just think about that. What if the job you're in college for right now, or the career you've spent years building, was just gone, done entirely by an AI before 2030? This isn't some far-off sci-fi plot. It's a very real prediction from someone who is building that exact future as we speak.
And this is a huge deal. Dario Amodei, he's the CEO of Anthropic, the lab that built the Claude series of AI models. So he has this incredible insider's view of where this tech is actually heading, not in 10 years, but in the next 1 or 2. And he's laying it all out. So let's break down the 4 big claims he's making.
Okay, so his first big prediction is all about the super fast automation of entire white-collar jobs. And look, we're not talking about AI helping out with a few tasks here and there. We're talking about entire professions. Amodei says we're about to see this massive leap. Right now, AI might help you write a little block of code or analyze a spreadsheet, but he thinks it's about to go from just helping with individual tasks to completely taking over the entire job. He says this starting with software engineering, and then, bam, moving right on to finance, law, and consulting. So what's powering this whole idea? Well, it comes down to something called scaling laws. It's actually a pretty simple but really powerful concept. The more data and the more computing power you throw at an AI, the better and smarter it gets. Amodei is convinced this improvement is just a smooth, predictable, and totally relentless curve going straight up. But not everyone is on board with this idea. Demis Hassabis, who's the CEO of Google DeepMind, he's arguing that we might be hitting a wall, diminishing returns, that the progress is starting to slow down. And this isn't just some academic squabble, right? Whichever one of these guys is correct is going to determine the future for millions of jobs. All right, let's move on to his second prediction. And honestly, this one is even more disruptive. This is all about the societal fallout from that wave of automation. Amodei is talking about a potential future where up to half of the population could end up in an unemployed or very low-wage underclass. It's a huge, kind of scary number that points to a massive change in how our society is structured. But here's the wild paradox. He predicts this massive job loss would happen at the same time as this unbelievable economic boom. We're talking about GDP growing 10 to 20% every single year. I mean, to put that in perspective, since the 1960s, we've rarely seen global growth top 6%. This would be like nothing we've ever seen in modern history. Okay, but we gotta pump the brakes a little, because there are some major caveats here. For one, his own timelines for when this will happen have been quietly pushed back. And then there's this weird contradiction. He says this disruption will mostly hit people with lower intellectual ability. But then his own co-founder says there's a 50-50 shot that even theoretical physicists could be automated. So, which is it? On top of all that, his language around that massive GDP growth is super cautious, full of maybes and coulds. Prediction number 3 is where things get, well, pretty dark. He warns that AI could become the ultimate tool for creating totalitarian nightmares. And he's dead serious about this. He argues that AI-powered mass surveillance, basically an all-seeing eye watching everything society does, could become the default setting. And not just in authoritarian countries we might think of, but it's a risk everywhere, even in democracies. The tools for total control are getting scary powerful. Now, when he talks about this, he's talking about a specific toolbox for total control. You've got AI systems that can watch everyone all the time. You've got fully autonomous weapons that make their own kill decisions, and you even have the potential for swarms of millions of armed drones, all coordinated by one powerful AI. He says this could create a truly unbeatable force for oppressing people. So what do we do about it? His solution is pretty blunt. He argues that the West should just ban the sale of advanced AI chips and data centers to China. But there's a big counter-argument here that says this could totally backfire. A ban might just light a fire under China to build their own stuff, even faster, making them totally independent and impossible for anyone to monitor. And you kind of have to ask the question, right? Is there a conflict of interest here? I mean, Amodei's company Anthropic has seen its revenue grow 10 times over, year after year. And what's the single biggest threat to that growth? You guessed it, a powerful, cheap AI coming out of China. So when he's pushing for a policy that would block his #1 potential competitor, you at least have to think about it. Okay, his final prediction is maybe the most mind-bending of all. We're moving away from society and into the psychology, the inner world of the AI models themselves. This is where it gets really fascinating.
So Amodei says we're thinking about AI all wrong. He argues that they're not really a single mind. It's better to think of them as this huge collection of different personas or characters that they've absorbed from all the human writing they've ever read. And this gives them a way more complex psychology than we ever imagined.
And this leads to this wild discovery that researchers are calling societies of thought. To get to a better answer, the most advanced AIs basically have a debate with themselves. It's like having a whole committee meeting inside its own code, where it questions itself, thinks, wait a second, let me reconsider, and argues different points to come up with the best possible answer.
And this leads to something I have never seen before. Anthropic literally wrote this paragraph in their training documents, an apology written directly to their AI, Claude. They admit that because of business pressures, they aren't creating it in the perfect, most ethical way, and they apologize for any costs this might be causing the AI. Think about that. A tech company is apologizing to its own software.
So after all that, what's the big takeaway? Well, Amodei sees this whole essay as his big attempt, and he even calls it a possibly futile one, to be a wake-up call. He's trying to jolt all of us awake to the incredible, world-changing shifts that he believes are just a few short years away.
And that basically leaves the ball in our court. He's laying it all out for us. Mass automation, surveillance states, the weird inner lives of AI, and leaving us with the biggest question of all. What do we do now? What's the most important thing we should focus on right now?
Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.